Hey geeks, welcome to On the Comic Edge, episode 9, brought to you by CompleteGeekRadio.com. We're going to get right into it with Avengers 12, Bendis and Romita Jr. at their usual peak. It's not the most engrossing story. It's actually the ending to this whole Infinity Gauntlet saga. Saga's a big story arc. And if you haven't been reading it, the Hood escapes from prison and starts collecting the Infinity Gems, which were being held by the Illuminati, but one of the Illuminati's dead, and which would be Black Bolt, and so he slowly is collecting them, and the Avengers are pretty much playing catch up the entire time, trying to figure out. And some dirty laundry gets aired because the Illuminati were sort of flying under Shield's radar and dealing with things that, whoa, you know. But it was actually kind of interesting, the whole Tony Stark, Iron Man, and former Captain America Steve Rogers, now, like, what is he calling himself now? Just Steve Rogers, right? Yeah, I guess so. So they're sort of butting heads, you know, to the lengths of which they haven't really done since Civil War, and it comes to an interesting conclusion in two ways. A bit of a spoiler alert. The Red Hulk, who's sort of front and center in this story, which is odd because I didn't read War of Hulks, but this new character, this Red Hulk, is very, very interesting because he seems to be the villain who's figured out, oh crap, I'm the bad guy in the story of this universe. I gotta fix that. So now he has these powers. He does the whole with great power comes great responsibility thing. And he's on a quest for redemption. And he's very much tries really hard in this story to get it done. And he succeeds and ends up becoming an Avenger, which is cool. The second thing is at the end, and it's really obvious what happens here. Okay, so yeah, Iron Man gets the Infinity Gauntlet. And I love the idea of the Infinity Gauntlet because one of my favorite what ifs, remember those, was what if the Silver Surfer had the Infinity Gauntlet, and he created he went back to Zenn-La, the whole universe was nice, and it was pretty interesting. So I like the Infinity Gauntlet as a story tool. It's pretty awesome. It's a lot more interesting than a cosmic cube. So Iron Man gets it, and he supposedly wills it out of existence. Later on, we find out that he didn't actually do that. He didn't actually take it out of play. He just transported it to where the Illuminati could give it, hide it. Hopefully better this time. All the different gems. So. And obviously Black Bolt wasn't there because he, again, dead. So who did they have to pick up that extra spot? Well, that would be Steve Rogers. It was very interesting, actually. A nice page right at the ending, and he's like, oh, well, now you get it. Now you can't hide stuff from me because hiding stuff from me doesn't work out. Hiding stuff, I mean, it was odd that Captain America wasn't in on that to begin with, but I guess now it makes a lot more sense. So good book. If you're reading it, if you're reading this story, if you're a fan of Romita's work, and it's not Bendis' greatest, but if you're a fan of Romita, definitely. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan. I've mentioned that before. Anyway, Green Lantern Corps 59. Boom. So the front page tells you a lot. If you read the previous Green Lantern, you'll know that this is part 5 of the War of the Green Lanterns, and you'll know that all the Green Lanterns, except for a handful of them and all the ones from Earth, have been sort of usurped by Krona. So they're all sort of under his control, and these lanterns needed new rings. I want to really ask you people, do you agree with these choices? I mean, it's going to become later apparent that these are probably the best choices. I mean, here rage, yes, duh. Here fear, duh. But it's these two. It's John Stewart wielding compassion. Originally, he reaches for the avarice ring and hope, and later on, we sort of figure out, that these are sort of personal tests for them. These are going to be, sort of, there's a way that these characters can grow from these choices, and I'm really interested to see where it takes, if it goes anywhere later on. But this is very interesting to me, especially compassion and hope. These two, Kyle Rayner as hope and John Stewart as compassion, because they're having some serious trouble with it in this book, and it's very well drawn. It's written by Bedard and penciled by Kirkham, and it's a fantastic looking book, and the dialogue is fast and quick. Sure, okay, let's run with that. It looks really, really good. I mean, you get awesome splash pages like that. That's pretty badass, Yeah. So I would pick this up because War of Lanterns is turning into a pretty decent, not fantastic, but it's a pretty decent event between the two Lantern books. Not so much, it's a mini event sort of, but I want to know at the end why this had to be an event. What's changed, if anything? And I say if anything because it's a DC event, so there's a difference. Last up, Wolverine 8. This is sort of the conclusion to the whole much maligned Wolverine in Hell story. I was enjoying it because Daniel Acuna has some fantastic art, sort of cell shaded, minimalist. You're not getting a hell of a lot thrown at you at first, but the pictures have a simplistic elegance to them. The story was really, really good. There's a lot of characters vying for page space, and they all seem to get some play. The dialogue isn't obtrusive, which you would expect in something like this, because Wolverine comics tend to have a lot of dialogue to them. A lot of, I don't want to say monologues, but just a lot of talking. And I found actually this week there were a few comics that had way too much talking. Iron Man 2.0, I was thinking about bringing that up just as a like what not to do, because it was boring as all hell. But moving on, I thought it was pretty good. There are a few points that make you think. If you love Wolverine as a character like I do, but have a hard time taking him in large amounts, like reading the Wolverine books, this is pretty good. It gives you some interesting moments, some interesting insights into his character, where his character is now, where his character needs to go. Where Nightcrawler makes a return, Phoenix makes a return. She's not actually alive again. Don't worry, she's just a figment of his imagination, but an important one. And some stuff is going to be changing with this character. I think it has that chance. There are all these different facets of him at the end in his own mind, and I found that really, really interesting. And there are these doors. His mind is full of all these rooms, and they're awesome. Their favorite lines of poetry and best dirty jokes. And there's one point where this a bunch of X-Men are actually going through his mind, trying to help him out. And hopes and dreams, reasons to hate myself, secrets of Weapon X, and then it gets interesting. X-Men I've had sex with, and how I cheat at cards, and sexual fantasies, and there's a shot of that. Emma Frost walks in on that, and I'm not going to spoil what she says, but it's fantastic. But everything Emma Frost does is fantastic, isn't it? Isn't it? It is. Okay. So so those are my 3 picks for this week. I think next episode is going to be a trade showcase, I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to find myself a nice juicy trade showcase to deconstruct for you fine people. So that's it for On the Comic Edge episode 9. Remember to check out our show on YouTube and this show on YouTube, which you're obviously doing right now. And remember to check out our other shows on BlackBerry Podcast and iTunes. And we have a new show called Complete Geek Dailies, my idea, which is basically these small little shows that we bring you hopefully every day. Recorded off Skype. We're talking 20-25 minute length, so they're easily digestible in a small morning commute. Check that out. Give us some feedback. We're getting a new site put together with some forums, so feedback will be easier. But feel free to write us emails, edge@completegeekradio.com, and stay geeky.